Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Welcome to the Next Issue podcast.
Hey now.
Hey,
It's always hard picking which intro to play when it's not like specifically themed because I really like them all so much. I feel like I don't play the Elting Bill Club once as much as I should.
It's got like a lot of
that's a good one.
energy to start.
Yeah, and that's probably just because I don't get it.
What? Oh my God! Tell me you've read those comics at least, right?
I have not.
Oh, dude!
Oh my God,
all right,
dude. What are you doing?
I will have to send them to you. It's us. It's us right here. It's
all right.
I mean, like the worst version of us.
The worst version, yeah.
Great. I've been meaning to read about the worst version of ourselves.
But you can check out the pilot. It's on YouTube.
Yeah.
And really, the pilot sums up the whole show. It's just really great.
Well, welcome everyone. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about what our favorite, more like the most faithful adaptation of comic book material into other media, whether it be TV, movies, I don't know, TikToks, whatever.
TikToks.
But before that, we took a break for the holiday, and we still read and watched and did a bunch of things. So let's get into that first. Also, we may talk a little Obi-Wan Kenobi. Some people have seen it, some of it. Josh, I'm looking at you.
I know, I haven't. Yeah, but you guys talk about it. It's totally fine. Totally fine.
Really, for that episode, the visuals are the payoff. Like, I think if we talk about it, it still doesn't. Like, you have to watch it because the visuals pay off really well.
Yeah, I say let's talk about it because I'm getting stuff spoiled for me again. Just
all right,
I open my phone and it's just all like Kenobi spoilers. So
now I
punching
see
me in the face.
notes. Kyle will also give us a lowdown of his Stranger Things watch. That's the one thing I haven't gotten into yet. So
yeah,
we'll get a good feel of. Is it season 4 you're going to talk about, Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. But let's start with some other stuff. So I'm gonna kick it off to Clay, and then we'll just go around the horn a little bit. We'll just drop a few things at a time, and then, what you've been doing since we last. Actually, we were 3 of us were able to meet on Monday at Half Price Books, which is really nice to see. Some familiar faces after like almost 2 years, 2.5 years.
2.5 years, man. We haven't seen each other
in a while.
Real life.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure you guys were real. I thought y'all were just AIs.
I mean, I aspire to be an AI.
We still don't know about Kyle. He's still maybe a sentient. Sentient AI that's just tricking us into making content with him. All right.
This week I got into volume 3 of Thor: God of Thunder by Jason Aaron, The Accursed. It's the storyline with Malekith. And so it's 6 issues, but with 3 artists, but it works. Like the stories that there are 2 standalones that are good with the art that are in it, and then it also has a good standalone, or it has an ongoing by one artist, Ron Garney. I mean, again, it's up there with Simonson as far as Thor runs. This is just great. The covers are home runs. Everything just seems to fall into place with this, and I'm loving this. Let's see here. What else?
That's big praise, but it's also weird that he's doing this God Butcher story, and he just kind of takes a break from it in the middle of the story. It almost feels like. So here's the cover for that.
Yeah.
I guess also to give Esad Ribic some time to catch up and maybe take a little break. Right? Because Esad Ribic.
Those covers, man, are home runs, man. Like every cover on the short volumes are great. I mean, like each issue it has great covers.
Yeah.
What else? Oh, the other Jason Aaron book is Avengers Forever number 6, where we discover the Vibranium Man, which is an alternate Earth version of Black Panther. But Wakanda has been defeated by Killmonger, a Killmonger who has found every power in the universe to destroy everything. Like he is basically Killmonger and the Destroyer in one.
Oh,
so it's like he's just this ultimate badass, and I mean, again, I love Jason Aaron just playing around with the multiverse of Avengers and the different versions like this, and then we see Deadpool and Ghost Rider show up with the Tony Stark Ant-Man to recruit Vibranium Man. The one thing I will say about this is I really thought Aaron
Cooter.
Aaron Cooter was going to be doing the art. He's doing the covers. He's not doing the interior art. I really wish he was doing the interior art. His books are just great. The art on this one was not. It was okay. It just felt very kind of like the suit is redesigned and it's just a very basic suit. It doesn't really it has a few outlines that kind of show the Panther, and that are good, but all in all, it's the story that's really the home run for me. I just love playing around in that universe.
Okay. And I feel like Vibranium Man sounds a lot dirtier than it actually ends up being.
Vibranium Man,
here's
doing the thing Vibranium can.
The one good thing about this whole Comixology thing that we can actually preview some pages of comics. So the art it looks very serviceable, I think. But I don't know what the previous issues look like, so maybe it can be jarring.
It's just mainly it was like the suit. I just felt like it was just kind of basic. It was like a basic 90s suit, I don't know. I just kind of was like, meh. But
it couldn't be 90s. There's no pouches.
Oh
well,
he's got,
it's just like a round head and a suit that just has muscle marks fleshed out on it.
He's got little webs. He shoots webs.
Yeah, he is very much like a Spider-Man in a sense, but it's weird. Like, I really recommend reading it because when you see the pages in there where the parents launch T'Challa into space, it's not space. It's an area where all the Black Panthers that have gone. It's like an afterlife kind of thing.
Yeah,
to learn
movie.
everything.
It's the ancestral thing. Ancestral thing, right?
Yeah. So,
cool.
And so as he's launched through there, that's when Ghost Rider takes his car and drives him and Tony Stark, Ant-Man, and Deathlock through it at the same time to pull Vibranium Man out because they need him. So again, great story. It's I love this universe because it's just like who the characters are. This is the twist we're going to put on them, and then we're going to play around.
Gotcha. Cool. All right, let's kick it out to Josh, and we'll come back. I know you have more stuff, Clay. Josh, what do you got?
Yeah, so I got 2 weeks worth of stuff. I'll just talk about a few. I picked up Captain Carter #3.
Yeah.
I was a little chuffed when I got this because I didn't realize this was the Fortnite. Like, this was a Fortnite thing. I'm an out of touch old man.
Wait, did the pink bear not?
No, it didn't. I saw the cover on my pull list. I'm like, oh, it's a cool fighting a pink bear person. I want that cover. I brought home. My daughter was like, you got the Fortnite one? I'm like,
yeah. What about the big Fortnite sticker on the front?
Well, I couldn't see that in the tiny little,
You're looking at the Todd preview.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine. It's still it's a fun book. The art's good. I think the thing that kind of bothers me is that it's very it very directly projects what's happening. It's not hard to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
And so to me it kind of feels like, come on, Captain Carter's smarter than this. So anyway, but I'll keep reading it. It's a fun book. I continue to read the British Paranormal Society. This is issue 2. Kind of in the same vein. Really cool story and art stories by Chris Roberson, art by Andrea Moody. This is another sort of thing where I feel like I kind of went into this expecting something that didn't quite turn out to be, and maybe it's because I don't know the backstory in Hellboy, but it's all it's Children of the Corn, The Wicker Man, Hot Fuzz. I mean, it's like they go to small town, weird cult shit's going on. Like, again, you kind of know what's happening.
Nice.
So it's a fun read here, and then I'll just do one more, and then we can pass it. I continue. Well, I'll save this one because I think you're going to discuss it too, all of you. But I continue to read Batman Beyond the White Knight, which is just a really interesting book. I like where it's going. I like what it's kind of doing with this alternate universe Batman and Terry McGinnis. One of the things I'm getting really tired of, though, is just the constant use of every time he casts a shadow, it's Batman's shadow. Which at first
who he is.
No, I mean, at first I liked it because it seemed like a nice subtle touch, but we're 3 issues in and every goddamn shadow is Batman. And I'm like, I get it now.
I think that's the case for the whole, like all the 2 series before it. I think is the same thing. Now, in that one, it's not as prevalent because in the other ones makes more sense because he was wearing the outfit, but now that he's been in prison and doesn't really wear the cowl anymore.
Oh, right, okay.
Because after the events of what was it, the White Knight? I don't know, the book with Azrael. I forget the name. Curse of the White Knight. Curse of the White Knight. So, Bruce ended up in prison for a long time, which is kind of where this book picks up.
That's where it begins, yeah.
So if you haven't read the other stuff, I recommend you read it. It's pretty good. I mean, still Sean Murphy art. So, well, he's writing art.
Yeah, he's doing writing and art.
There's a few other like spin-off, like one-shot books that are also pretty good, just expanding on that world.
I will say the one thing I continue to like about this is the Joker sidekick, the Joker AI sidekick. It's an interesting pairing, and the fact that he's constantly dismissive and not believing of him, and then when you get the reveal, I won't spoil it, but if you're not reading it, there's a reveal in issue 2 that's kind of that kicks off this issue. Anyway, it's fun. It's a good time. Nice. So that's a few things I've been reading.
All right, we'll throw it to Kyle after he finishes his bite.
I'll do one more.
I'll go. Well,
you got it. Okay, all right, go ahead.
So I watched a few movies since then. If you can see from my list, the first one I want to talk about. I think it's probably not my first Cronenberg movie that I've seen, but it's the one that I'm like, oh yeah, that's a fucking Cronenberg film. Crimes of the Future.
You get lunch? Oh.
Crimes of the Future, which recently came out, actually this weekend, I think. It premiered at Cannes Festival. Cannes Festival, because I did when I made the trailer review, somebody's like, oh, there's no S at the end of Cannes. And I was like, oh, thank you. I don't speak French.
There is an S there. You just don't say it, which is kind of dumb. So
yeah, come on, friends, get your shit together.
Yeah, get your shit together. Just remove the S.
What are you, English or something? Not saying a few words. But anyway, it stars Viggo Mortensen and Kristen Stewart and Leigh Serrault, a French actress. Sorry about the name.
Oh boy.
She's in the James Bond movies as well, the more recent ones. It's fucking insane, guys. Like, this is one. If you could go out and watch it, if you can find it, because it's only playing at the Alamo around me. It's weird. It's about this dystopian future where the human race has evolved past feeling pain, and also they kind of start growing organs that are just and like Viggo Mortensen is a performance artist with his partner who they perform live surgery in front of an audience, and he just removes these organs that his body's creating. It's a little bit of a critique and all the stuff that we're doing with plastics and shit, because all that stuff is causing us to evolve synthetically inside. It's weird. It's a little bit slow paced, and definitely something you probably have to. I had to watch a video afterwards to like figure out, is this what I really watched? Like, what the fuck just happened? There's not fly levels of body horror, but there's still some like there's still like if you're able to watch, like, I don't know, like ER or like this one of the surgery scenes from ER, you'll probably get through it. If not, then maybe stay away from this movie or just fast forward through those little bits because, like, there's people poking inside of people with their hands.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I'm out.
Yes, I see. That's the best part of Cronenberg is when it gets really
Ugh.
disturbing. When
Ugh.
James Woods puts a VCR tape inside himself and puts his hand in there
Oh,
in
boy.
Videodrome. Oh my
Does it
god!
play?
Huh?
Does it,
Does it
does
play?
it play?
Now
And
this
then he has
has
a
Look,
giant
I like
flash.
I like Naked Lunch Cronenberg, where you have typewriter turning an insect ass, turning a sex scene into a threesome. So that's my level of Cronenberg. But I don't
there's
like
some, sexy time on this one too.
Ugh.
what I don't like is live surgery, people putting hands in people.
My main critique was there's not enough Kristen Stewart in this movie. I felt like she was gonna be bigger, and she's a pretty big character, but she's not. There's more.
Check out
but
Existence too, because that's a mind-blowing Cronenberg film.
This has led me to want to watch. I haven't seen A History of Violence, which is also a Cronenberg film starring Viggo Mortensen, which could probably be on the list of stuff we're going to talk about. I haven't seen it. I haven't read the book, so I don't know.
I have the book and I've seen it.
Now, speaking of things that are adaptations that probably shouldn't have been made, I also watch Judge Dredd, 1995.
Oh no!
I keep meaning to watch this movie. I own it. I need to watch it. So,
Same here.
What do you think?
It's I watched it because my buddy Mike they have a in their podcast they do like comic book club, so they were watching both Dredd films. As part of that, movie club. So yeah, I watched this one because I've seen the 2012 version plenty of times, but I had never seen this one. I think aesthetically it looks like a Dredd movie. And I haven't read much of the comics. I've only read some of the American stuff, not really any of the 2000 AD
oh wow,
original material.
Oh shit,
but,
you need to.
Yeah.
But Stallone just his whatever they told him to talk like is weird. Like even just the iconic line of "I am the law," like he butchers it. And like I said, the movie looks cool. Even Rob Schneider's not the biggest problem
Schneider's
in that movie.
in it.
God, you know it's
the wacky sidekick.
It's funny. I want to see it for like the set design because when I was in Scotland, I took students to Scotland. We had someone come out to speak to the students. She worked as one of the set designers on that movie and brought like blueprints and stuff to show us, and it was amazing. And I'm like, that's what got me wanting to go watch it. Was really just watch it for the design, the scenery. So I need to check that out.
Yeah.
Well, according to some stuff, I think Versace designed the Dredd outfits in this movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Gianna Versace designed the Judge Dredd costume for the 1995 film. This is something that I heard from the podcast once I listened to them. So, but yeah, go check out I Read Comic Books. They do a lot of cool shit.
There's a lot of overlap of fashion fans and comic book fans.
And they make you watch a lot of weird shit. I'll touch on one more thing before we move on to the next person. I also watched Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. This is a Ty West film. It's a sequel to Eli Roth's Cabin Fever. I also watched this for another podcast that my buddy makes. They made another one where they talk about sequels and stuff like that. It was fun. It was gory and weird. And if you've seen the first Cabin Fever, it's nothing at all like that because it's very different.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how do you make a sequel to that movie?
Yeah, and change the tone and everything.
You advertise Sean from Boy Meets World as the main star, and then he's not in the movie like 95% of the time. Yeah, Ryder Strong is
oh my god.
Because if you've seen the first one, you know that he kind of escapes.
Yeah.
Kind of. But he does have whatever virus. So it's interesting. There's a lot of interesting stuff about the movie as well because Ty West kind of disavowed the movie after the studio messed with it. And Ty West just had that movie X come out, which is why the name sounded so familiar.
Yeah. I've heard rave reviews about X.
Yeah, the movie's interesting, but you can definitely tell where the studio was like, oh, we need to add some stuff because we want to keep making more of these.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's all I have. Let's kick it back to Kyle.
Not much on my part. Like I said, watch Stranger Things. Really enjoyed season 4, except with what they're doing. I'm just gonna say it straight out. Hopper's not dead.
Yeah,
of course not. He was in Black Widow.
Wait. his story is like a side story that almost does not need to be there. I mean, I almost feel like the series would be better if they just kept him dead. Honestly,
No, I love Hopper.
Well, no, I think he's one of the best characters, but like what they're doing with him, it's like it's almost no fucking point to it.
Oh, that sucks, man, because I was really hyped to see him leave Black Widow because I saw stories where he had sent pictures of the Russian prison that he was in the film to the Stranger Things people for production.
You have the kids are separated because the one I can't remember the character's name, but the one kid who has the brother, the one who got infected, they're living with their mom in California now with Elle, and the other kids are still in Indiana. And they're separated and shit's going on, and they have this new big bad who we actually have an actual big bad character now, and and we find out more about the connection of the whole upside down world and Elle and that whole area, and that all comes together really well. But then you go to Hopper and Russia, and it's just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Oh man!
And 7 episodes, like there's almost like no connection to the upside down world or anything until like one small thing that happens in the last episode. I'm not going to get into what, but and you have I think it was season 2 when you had the 2 main kids, the sister and the brother who hook up, the kids who hook up, and they go find that one guy who's like the I don't remember these guys' names, but he's like the conspiracy guy who had the beard.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he comes and meets with Winona Ryder's character, and they go to Russia to try to find Hopper, and it's just like it takes a sideline. It's like,
how the fuck did they just get up and go to Russia in the 80s?
In the 80s, yeah.
Yeah.
They said they're with the Rocky film, so they
they tagged along with head of the class.
They go on like this freight plane because they're gonna try to pay to get him out of Russia. So it's not like your typical I'm going to Russia on a trip. They're actually going like kind of like I have connections. The one guy has connections, and he takes her. Because they find out like after doing some stuff that Hopper's still alive, so they go to Russia to try to find him, and it's like, what is going on here?
That is wild. Each episode is like an hour or longer, right?
Just about, almost.
My big hurdle was 2 things. First of all, I need to find a good like recap video of like what the fuck happened for 3 years, like for the 3 seasons before this.
Rewatch it. It's a fun watch.
Do they not have that on Netflix? Like,
it is.
I feel like they always provide like a recap video.
I don't know. Is there a recap something at the beginning, Kyle?
I don't think so. Not like that big of a recap.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
not all 3 seasons. There might have been some. No, actually, I don't think there was a recap. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, and I know they usually show you like this is what you kind of need to know, but still. And then the other thing is the length of the episodes. Like, I have a lot of media to consume. I don't have the time. I say that. I did
it all through Friday into Saturday last week, and it was no problem.
Yeah, I know. I say that, and I binge watched The Boys, the first 3 episodes of The Boys that night when they came out. So, hypocrisy. But yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, if you guys want to put any of that on the Plex server, it would be great to watch. Stranger Things 4 and The Boys, and I would even put a vote in for Bob's Burgers.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that'll come out to some streaming. Yeah, we'll find it, Clay.
I've got season 1 of Stranger Things on my Plex server. So,
I forget I do have the DVD collection. I forgot that I have the physical media for that because they put them out in the clamshell VHS boxes.
All right, I'll tell you what. We'll come back for more comics for you, Kyle. Since that's, and then we'll talk Kenobi at the end. Clay, what else you been doing?
Watching movies. For my other podcast with Mark, I watched Caddyshack.
Nice.
Revisiting the 80s. And it was, you know what? I say that now, but I went and looked at 1980 because I was looking at like what was going on that year. Russia did have its first rock concert in 1980. So the doors were opening up, starting in 1980 as they started to kind of embrace the West a little bit more. I mean, we wouldn't see the wall come down for like another decade, but they were getting a little more free in a lot of the things that they were doing. Watched Obi-Wan. I won't spoil it, but I will say episode 3 had some very cinematic shots, but I want to know Kyle's opinion from that look.
I was going to say Kyle seems like he's not a fan.
No. I'm a fan. But I'm going like they're going all out. They're not making you wait till like episode 5 or 6 or shit. Like they're going straight forward in episode 3. It's like what they're here now, and I'm just like, okay, all right.
I was talking to Yeah, I was talking to my buddy Terry about it because I was like, how could they just bring in Darth Vader in the 3rd episode? But it was like they were hyping it through the whole.
Technically, they brought him in at the end of episode 2, but he feels Anakin, and you see Anakin in his water chamber, and you see him there hung, and then basically slight spoiler. Episode 3 starts off with like Obi-Wan kneeling, kind of praying, and he's trying to contact Qui-Gon, and then you just see Anakin and the troop come out, and they just start putting him in the whole Vader armor, and it's like, oh shit's about to get real. Oh,
I mean,
yeah, they do it from like his arms. They put on the robot arms, the robot legs. It's a slow build of encasing him in the entire suit, and
when he's done, does he go no?
I think he's finally embraced it. He goes hell
yeah. He goes beep beep boop boop.
He goes through a town and creates such havoc that is just you're just like, oh shit, he really is doing the Darth Vader. I mean, Hayden Christensen just gets fucking raw in that suit. And
I will say this. No, good.
Oh, just the voice. The voice for me when it came on, I was like,
well, they said James Earl Jones is back doing the voice.
Yeah, so. and it works. I mean, like I was just real excited in this last episode.
Not even that. They're in that small town, and you see the 3 Inquisitors first line up. So you're like, okay, so shit's about to. Oh wait, and then you hear the, and you see Vader just slowly walk up, and he starts walking down the hallway looking. And he starts force choking everybody and killing people. It's just like, okay, he's this is no shit kind of crap. It's like he's like
and like killing kids, like just viciously.
Now, I will say this much: I love the actress who plays a young Leia, but God, I wanted to smack her around episode 2. But she put him through so much hell. I'm like, why are you doing this to Obi-Wan, you little?
Yeah, I think they're trying to show her knowledge as a kid. You know, just being very aware and force sensitive of who her parents are, because like she questions like, are you my dad? Like she questions Obi-Wan about that.
And this is the part where I'm going to wonder if they're going to play in this, because when you watch A New Hope, when she's feeding R2 the data, the message, she goes, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you fought with my father during the Clone Wars, and yet here she's being rescued, and she knows him as Ben Kenobi. I wonder if she's going to realize this. I wonder if she's kind of thinking this isn't Obi-Wan, but a different character who's a Jedi. So it's like.
That's funny. That's the same thing Kevin Smith was wondering about in the last podcast. And
really?
And they really give you the sense of what it's like to live under the Empire. Like, you just have soldiers everywhere. You want to give them information so they leave you alone. And that kind of shit. I mean, I kind of enjoyed it, but there's a shot of Vader over flames that reflect in his eyeballs that is the most cinematic shot of Star Wars TV that I've seen yet.
Yeah, I really like the show as well. I can't wait for Josh to watch it. I really like, I don't know, it feels like a lot of the Star Wars content is telling you like, hey, those prequel movies were actually pretty fun. And they make a lot of sense. Yeah, they were. Shut up. They
were. First one it was.
And then also
ew.
The first we've been down this road. Phantom Menace is my favorite of the prequels.
What?
Yes, we've been down this road.
Insane because
how?
Phantom Menace is the best one of the 3.
Well, we'll leave that for our Star Wars episode. Oh,
Clay just noped out. He's like, fuck that shit. I'm out of here.
Very upset. He's walked away. Podcast is over. But what I do want to say is, I think everything that's going on, like my stupid brain is doing all this like mental gymnastics. Like, how do we get from here to episode 4? Or like, how does this affect Rebels or Rogue One or Solo?
First you got to realize. So this is 10 years before A New Hope.
I love you.
Rebels is 5 years before A New Hope, and then basically each season of Rebels is another year before. So it goes like 5, 4, 3, 2. So this is introducing the Inquisitors technically for the first time for us.
Right.
And so basically they've already announced that basically it looks like we may be getting Obi-Wan season 2. So we don't know where we're going to go with this. Is Vader going to think Obi-Wan's dead, or is he just going to run and it's another 10 years before they meet again upon the Death Star? So,
yeah. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. I like what they're doing. I really like what's his name from Fast and Furious, Shang Kong. I think it's the name of the actor. Shang Kung. Yeah.
Oh,
as the 5th brother. I think all the Inquisitors are really cool. Although there's one that's not doing much right now.
Yeah,
I know.
Very quiet.
But I like the Inquisitors. I like them in the comics. I like them in Rebels.
I was a little disappointed that she took out the Grand Inquisitor so easily. It was just like,
Yeah,
well,
that was
we don't
weird.
know what's going on because we know that he's in. We've seen him later, so
no, he's dead. I mean, he's
no,
literally
but
dead.
he's in Rebels.
He's in Rebels. Yeah.
Are you sure it's not another Grand Inquisitor? It might be a different character.
Man, look, I'm not gonna say that all his race look the same, Kyle.
Are the titles all the same? Like for each role within the?
They each
so,
have a
because-
number. Yeah, it's
even Vader says you can become Grand Inquisitor to what's her name. So it's like
the Inquisitor numbering system makes no fucking sense because like it doesn't denote rank or anything. I don't know what it means. Like if somebody watching knows how the Inquisitors are named, let us know down in the comments because it doesn't make any sense. Like there's no sense of structure. It does feel like Palpatine because we know in the comics he put this group together to fuck with Vader.
Yeah.
Like just to mess with him. Like oh yeah, any of these people could replace you at any point, you piece of shit. So yeah, I don't even know. There's no hierarchy. There's no other than the Grand Inquisitor, but then even then, like, yeah, Inquisitors are bad. So,
and I'm assuming they're all former Jedi or Force sensitive people.
Force sensitive people. That's what I'm going with.
Force sensitive for sure. I don't know if everyone's a Jedi, but yeah, there's our Kenobi discussion. Hopefully, Josh will catch up soon.
Well,
I gotta wait for the kiddo. Is the problem? So
I think what we need to do is make your kid a regular on the show. That way, she'll have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff.
You try getting her up by 9:30 on a Sunday morning. Let me tell you.
I thought she was usually doing cello by now.
What?
I thought she was usually doing her cello practice by now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're out of town.
Okay.
I'm home alone.
Yeah. Risky business, eh?
Damn it, Cole, your hair, where's it gone?
All right.
Well, can I go next? Because I have a.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Well, speaking of James Earl Jones, I last night listening to another podcast. They were talking. They're kind of reviewing films of the '80s, and they talked about Conan the Barbarian. And I remembered two things. One, I had picked it up in a bundle, and two, I'd never seen it. I thought I had, but when I started watching, I realized, no, I've never seen this movie.
Wow.
That movie is far better than it has any right to be.
Yeah.
Any right. It is really, really good. Like, really good. And I've got some quibbles with it, notably the fact that for such an iconic character, they never say Valeria's name. Ever.
Right.
They never say her name, which is kind of weird.
Do you think it could be like a rights thing? Because I know each one of those characters. I don't know if everything falls under the Conan banner. Conan has some of the weirdest licensing stuff ever.
It still does. We discussed this in the comics, right? Like he's showing up in Marvel, but he's also in all these Ablaze. My understanding was the scene where she gets introduced, there was some dialogue where she said her name and they cut it. So I don't know. But here's the thing I love about that movie. If that movie had tried to do more and more special effects, it would have looked so cheesy. Yeah. The fact that it is so grounded and uses really subtle things, like I love the moment where again, James Earl Jones is a bad guy. Never expected to see it. He's so good. But when he's turning the haircut, everyone's got page boy haircuts. It's like they all stepped out of Prince Valiant. But when he takes that snake and turns it to an arrow and you just get the shot of him like straightening it, like that is brilliant. And even down to, I had to pause it and rewind and watch again when his face starts morphing into the snake, because it is incredible. I was like, how the fuck did they do that? Like, it's really, really good. The actress playing Valeria is so good. Arnold is not bad. Yeah, there he is. Oh man, it's such a great movie. The hair. I was taken aback by just how good it is. I was not expecting it. So, I mean, it's rightfully one of the, I think, quintessential kind of fantasy films and the way that it handles stuff. It's very grounded. It's very, very real, very kind of like, I don't want to use the word gritty because gritty seems to speak of tone. I mean, like everything's dirty and gritty, worn, I guess. And in the same way Star Wars was 3 years before, so.
I mean, it's James Earl Jones coming off of Darth Vader getting to do a bad guy,
I know, right. Himself, yeah.
And a spoiler alert for what's happening on the screen.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, I mean,
is this how he become King Conan?
You don't know yet. I mean, if you've never seen it, the last shot of the movie sets up King Conan.
And they've talked about doing it for decades. Like they've talked about Schwarzenegger returning as King Conan.
He'd be perfect now. Yeah.
No.
And,
Josh,
I just want to see that story.
I need you to now go watch the Jason Momoa Conan.
I own it.
Tell me the differences. I know, Clay.
I'm assuming the differences are every decision made was bad except casting Jason Momoa.
The story stuff, I turned it off in the first 30 minutes. Like it's
really,
and it's got Ron Perlman in the beginning. Like there's some great actors in there, but man, that story just sucks, and you're just like, who cares? But when you start Conan, you see him as a young child, suffering and doing the wheel until he becomes Schwarzenegger, and you're just like, what a badass.
Here's the other thing I really like about this movie is two things. One is they pack a lot into 2 hours, but in a way that doesn't feel forced, which I found it's got to be sort of masterful editing, right? The other thing is it is a movie, and you really don't see this much anymore, which I really like. It's a movie that shows and doesn't tell. And it will double down on showing even when it's confusing, right? I had to go read online when he, falls in, he's being chased by the dogs and he falls into the little pit area. The only word he says is Crom. And so you think he's found Crom's sword. That's not the case. It's an Atlantean general from the era of Kull, and he found an Atlantean sword. But they never explain that. They're just like, nah, that's all we're showing you. Go with it, So it's a really, really fascinating movie.
That one's for the believers.
Yeah, exactly. So I just had to tie it in with James Earl Jones.
All right, let me go next, and I think we could probably go maybe once more round. I do want to show you guys my comics for the week because there was a lot of even though it was annual week, so there was not as many.
Oh, hold on, Josh. What do you have? Oh,
I just assumed you were going to discuss this. So I
think that one came out last week, so I don't have it in, but yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did read that one. I liked it, and the writer left us a comment on the review, which was cool.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Gary Whitta. And then also somebody said in the comments, "Oh, I don't like this comic book at all." But then they replied to his comment, "Oh, I can't wait for the next one." I was like, "Wait a minute." I think in his comment he said that the book is about to drastically change the way it is. So the story is going to be weird. But anyways, go watch that video. I go in depth to what's going on. So like I mentioned, it was annual week, so there's not a lot of comic books out. But we did get this really cool Batman annual. This is setting up. If you like Batman Incorporated, you got to pick this up because it's setting up the book that's going to come out in September, I believe. We do have Hayla go in the chat. We are allowed. It's always Morbin time.
It's always Morbin time.
Always Morbin time when you're with your friend.
Can we not say it because Morbius came back to the theaters and bombed exceptionally, or is that why?
It makes me want to watch the movie now that they were brave enough to put it back out in theaters.
It's like they don't understand the internet and memes and how they work. Anyways, we got the conclusion to the Shadow War event. Now I can read that. I haven't read it.
Oh my god, it was such a fucking letdown.
Really?
That's not good to hear.
With who the fucking fake who the other Deathstroke is? I was like, really? This is the direction we're fucking going?
Well,
spoil it. I want to know.
No, I don't want to know. I want to read it.
Oh, okay.
You can message Clay privately somewhere else.
Yeah, don't spoil it for Daniel.
Nice House on the Lake, number 7. I got this variant because they didn't have the main cover anymore. Looks crazy though. Legion of X, or Knights of X, which is the D&D X-Men book. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Oh, really? Shit, I might have to pick that up. Fuck.
They're in Otherworld, and they're just doing fantasy stuff. Captain Marvel, this is a new arc with, as you can see, Binary on the cover.
Binary.
So go check that out if you want to know what's going on. Got some Star Wars stuff. I'm not current on Star Wars, so I won't talk about the books.
Who's writing Darth Vader?
Huh?
Who's writing Darth Vader?
I think it's still Greg Pak, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah,
is
Greg
Jason
Pak's
Aaron's
writing.
run the best Darth Vader run?
I like Charles Soule and I like Greg Pak a lot, so I don't know. I think it was Kieran Gillen that wrote it. Jason Aaron did the Star Wars book.
He did,
but they're all really good.
Right.
Glad I sent you a text message.
Holy shit, for real?
Yep.
I hate you guys.
Something's going down. Something's going down.
That is a weird choice. That is a choice.
I picked up this book I know nothing about. It's called Art is Elite. It looks super cool. But I haven't read it. It was just I didn't even know this was coming out.
Who's it from?
It's I don't know anybody that's working on this book.
Well, no, I mean, is it Image, Marvel, DC?
No. I don't even know the publisher. It's just like it looks like
it just magically appeared in Danny's room.
Yeah, it's from Artist Elite Comics, so I don't know that publisher either. It's probably some independent stuff. And you know those indie guys, they like to keep it weird. I'll show you two more books and then some stuff that will blow your minds. I also picked up this book called Never Ender from Behemoth.
Hey, so did I.
Great. Did you read it?
Oh, look
I
at
did.
The covers.
Okay,
this cover is beautiful.
Yeah, hold on. Let me
Both
switch.
of them are awesome.
It just, I mean,
that's the one I told you. My friends that when I went to the anime store, that's their book from Kickstarter.
Oh, right. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. This is the standard cover.
Jake Eckes and then yeah.
Oh, dude,
Devin Kraft. Jake Eckes. Yeah.
Yeah, and Lon. He does the lettering too. Yeah. So they're all friends of mine.
The name sounded familiar because I have some Jake Eckes original art that Josh showed at his.
That's right. I thought the name looked familiar too. I'm like, why does this look so familiar?
I didn't. Yeah, cool. Because I met him at one of the Dallas, the smaller, the ones that used to be at the Richardson Center.
It's all coming together. Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, I was at the mall. They were doing a signing outside the anime store.
Awesome. Yeah, then I'll definitely check it. I mean, I'm glad I picked it up, not even knowing that was the case. But Behemoth's been doing some really fun stuff. So, and then last but not least, The Closet, the fucking scariest book that James Tynion's ever put out.
Dude, for real, that guy can't stop.
Because of this adorable child, it's that I don't want anything bad to happen to him, and I know that probably stuff may happen to him. So, very excited to read that. I do want to show a couple more things, and then we'll go to that because this is pretty much the last of the stuff. So on Monday, Memorial Day, we went to, like I said, we met up. A few of us met up at Half Price Books. So I picked up these two books, DC 2000. I haven't read them, but it's only like this is the full series or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Kyle, do you know anything about this? Does this sound familiar?
Can't say I do.
Okay, then I'm excited because if Kyle doesn't know about it, then it's got to be like weird.
Yeah, when I saw it, I thought that was around the time period that I thought you would know those books better than me and Josh because I was like, I have those books, but I don't remember what they're about.
I've never even heard of them. So
yeah, Zemeckis' name is on the book, but I don't know if it's that. I don't think it's the director.
Is it DC 2000?
Yeah, DC 2000. And then, like I said, we met up, and my buddy Clay gave me some cool stuff. This is one of them. New Mutants.
Nice.
First appearance of Cable, right? Yeah. This is Cable, and then New Mutants. First appearance of Deadpool.
Holy shit!
Pretty fucking insane. You'll see how insane it was at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
What's so funny is what I gave them to you in a bag, and you started to rip the bag open, and the comics were right there, and you like almost ripped the bag or the comics, and I was like,
no.
I am very careful. I could feel there was good stuff inside. And then the last thing I bought this because I can't stop buying Batman stuff. It's the
Oh,
collector's
shit.
edition. It's the collector's edition from Walmart of the movie. So
Oh
Oh,
wow.
wow, that's
so maybe
awesome.
we'll do a digital code giveaway since I already have the digital code from the other one. Um,
Nice.
all right, that's
Well,
all I have because I'm saving the other thing I had just for my recommendation. Oh, real quick, watch Andrew Garfield's Under the Banner of Heaven on Hulu. It's fucking great.
is it
Oh,
good?
really?
It's really good. It's a detective mystery, but it all takes place in a Mormon community. With the LDS Church. So I don't know much about that stuff, but man, it gets crazy. So
How come so many British actors can do a pitch perfect American accent, but American actors have such a hard time with British accents?
Yeah.
I think because the American accent is nothing like I don't want to say it's not. It's just sounds it's very what do you call
It's
it?
very general. You could do
Yeah,
like a southern one, you could do a
Right,
Midwestern,
okay.
a California.
yeah.
Like there's different tones you could really cover in an American
And then
accent.
to us dumb Americans, like anything with a British accent sounds like, oh, hey, cool. Hey, mate.
Yeah. If you have an accent,
Right.
a British accent is like +2 intelligence.
Yeah, anyone thinks they can do it, but they really can't. All right, let's go around the horn one more time. Try to finish off here. So we'll
Okay.
go back to you, Clay. I'm done with my stuff because I'll save the other stuff for recommendations. Clay, go ahead.
Okay. Friday night, Joe Bob did The Last Drive-In. He did a movie from 1981 called The Monster Club. And if you haven't seen it, it is a blast. It has the best soundtrack. It is so fun. But what was really cool is in the middle of or during the telling of the story is they use a lot of Gothic art. And everyone on Twitter was like, man, that looks like Bernie Wrightson. And they tracked it down. John Bolton did a lot of the art in that, but it looks very Bernie Wrightson-esque.
Wow.
So there was all this kind of moment on Twitter where everyone on The Last Drive-In was discovering art from Boland and Bernie. And it was just great seeing all that stuff show up. But yeah, he did The Monster Club, and if you've never seen it, I recommend the music and the movie. It was just fun. Played some Pathfinder this week for the first time.
Yeah.
Josh put together a Pathfinder event, and I'm just kind of jumping into the Pathfinder world. I started playing Pathfinder Adventures on my iPad, where you can
Nice.
like buy a module and play through it. It's really fun, and like I guess you can get adventures for as low as $1.99. Like
Yeah.
and
Excuse me.
what?
Oh, good. No, good.
Oh no, I'm just enjoying being in that world. So it's like I'm just reading and discovering more, creating that character. I mean, basically, I'm creating like a Groot or no, Rocket to play in Pathfinder. I've gotten a dwarf who has a suit and can build anything. I know the suit was kind of rare. I asked you about that. If it was,
I need
cool
to double
have-
check it.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to double check it. I'll take a gander today. So
Yeah, I've never played an inventor in an RPG, so it's kind of a weird role because you can kind of fix things that break during, your adventure or while you're fighting. And I don't know. I'm just more excited about it the more I read.
awesome.
And I got into Dice Masters. Have you guys played this?
I've always heard of it. I've not played it though.
I mean, it's fun as hell in the sense that you have like custom dice. Dice are kind of your attackers. You have cards, and you get like custom dice for Vision, for Hawkeye, for what they do. And it looks like the game came out a couple of years before the pandemic and was having events and really kind of gathering a lot of people to play. And then the pandemic hit, and that's what really drove the game. I've seen the dice stuff on sale everywhere. This is part of my half price books haul. Was Age of Ultron Dice Master set. Like you can buy one for DC. You can buy one. There are 2 turtle sets. There's a WWE or WW whatever wrestling is. they have a set for that. But I don't see, like, I guess the pandemic kind of delayed because they would roll them out with events, and with no events, just them kind of coming out has been weird. But I'm enjoying kind of trying to figure this game out, and just the dice are really neat and kind of are drawing me in because they're all kind of custom to each character.
That's cool.
Yeah, and real quick, I want to go through my half-price books haul because I picked up a lot of stuff that I was kind of excited for, and I got bags and boards, and so I started going through some of my old books that I was had laying around.
It's like
Jack in the Box. Yeah, I found a Jack in the Box comic that someone gave me, and this was kind of neat. Just finding the giveaway comics. You know, like I think we had an episode where we talked about like the Sanger Harris and Joskies and done a lot of Spider-Man and Hulk. I had this one laying around in. I have like piles of comics that are extras that I either give out at Halloween or I cut up and do decoupage stuff of. Like I have a bookshelf that is just covered in Scotty Young and Chris Bocciolo art I've cut out of comics.
Nice.
This one was laying in that pile of cutting up stuff, and then I just realized that Adam Hughes had autographed it on the cover and was like saved it at the last second. I was like, I didn't realize that was a real autograph at first, and I was like, I don't even remember where I got that.
You should run the comics through like eBay or something before you chop them up.
Yeah.
Well, now that I have like a database to catalog everything, I start pulling them up and looking to see if they're like first appearance issues. You know, are they key issues to anything? Moon Knight cover from Age of Ultron. I'm excited for. I'll probably like frame that. But this was my big find. Midtown Comics, J. Scott Campbell cover for Guardians was just in the general books, you know, and Deadpool on the cover. I know this is a variant that came out during the Marvel Now stuff, especially a regional one like that. That's cool to find at Half Price Books. Like I just love going through and finding stuff, you know, it's like need, want. And now that I have like a database, I have a want list. And so, like, I'll send it to Shelby if she goes, "Hey, we got some Guardians in, or some Man Thing, or Moon Knight," and I'll go, "Okay, these are the issues I'm missing." So, but I had been to Half Price Books in like 2.5 years when I saw you guys. So just getting to go through stuff.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I haven't been able to go anywhere. So, like, I go to my comic shop and come home. Like, that's the only thing I've done for like 3 years now. Man. So, yeah, and it was just. I mean, I just got so many neat things that I was excited to pick up. You know, got some Man Thing. This is the Man Thing movie adaptation, or that came out. It is probably got the best Man Thing art. Kyle Holtz does the art in these. It's a 3-issue mini. Awesome, fantastic. But
it doesn't say the Turgid Man Thing. It really should. That is. Swamp Thing.
What the fuck?
It's from Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh my god, that's awesome.
Swamp Thing.
That's
awesome.
Where they become camp counselors. Oh my god.
RP Legends.
Okay, so that I went through it. That if I do have it, I forgot all about it. But that DC 2000, it's basically Tio Morrow is in the future and somehow takes control of the future and takes the Justice League of America from the two. So basically, the Morrison run of Justice League to go back in time to work with the JSA to stop him from controlling the universe. So it's the 2 books, and the art's phenomenal. It's I forget the artist, but it's I just looked at it, but it's just
cool.
Yeah, it's from the time of a Justice League time where the stories were actually still good.
I love Grant Morrison's JLA. Whoa. That's like one of my favorite runs.
All right. Well. With that segue, was that it?
That's it. Yeah.
All right, Josh. Did you have anything else before we? I know you.
I do.
A few more things. So.
Yeah, no, I do. I do just because I don't want to dismiss it. I do want to point out Batman Fortress #1. A really cool concept, really fun book. The art is great. Derek Robertson, written by what?
He's the artist on The Boys.
Oh, that's right.
That's why Bruce Wayne looks like Butcher.
Yeah, exactly. That makes him. Or why this guy looks like everyone else. No, it's a fun book. You got to give props to any writer ballsy enough that in the first issue they're going to do. Okay, it's basically Arkham Asylum And that's just issue 1. And then it's like, all right, we're done with that. Let's move on. So like you said, I'm excited to see where this goes in issue
it's like,
2.
oh, look at this localized threat to Gotham. Just
Exactly.
kidding, it's a worldwide event.
Yep. Tell me I'm not the only one reading Saga. Is everyone reading Saga?
You're the only one reading Saga
current.
monthly, I think. I read my Saga once it's collected.
I give them props for the fact that in a single issue they can resolve 2 big storylines and then still end it on a cliffhanger. So now I'm like, well, crap. Now I can't wait for the next. Every issue ends with I can't wait for the next issue. So
that's why I read it in trade. Yeah, exactly.
So that's issue 59, and then just kind of a few weird ones. I had to pick this up because I know Todd. This is Todd Steinberg and Jocelyn Diaz's "Don't Tell My Wife I'm a Cult Leader."
Oh boy,
issue 1 came out.
About this, yeah.
So Todd Steinberg, I know anyway, he's come to the comic club way back in like the museum days. Initially he was working to turn this into like an animated series, and I think that kind of explains some of the art style, which is very kind of bare bones. It's very stripped down because I think it was designed for animation. But the basic idea is it's set in Denton, and a guy basically becomes a cult leader. And it starts off in the present with him as a cult leader and the cops outside, like trying to get in. And then it goes back in time just to kind of set up how he became this cult leader. So it's an interesting book. If you're from the area, they refer to Denton, parts of it are set in Denton and in Dallas. So you kind of know what's going on. So
if they adapt this to like live action, they should get Jason Lee to play the cult leader since he already lives in
Denton. Yeah, that would be good. That would be very
good.
He's
a part of Scientology, which is
no. He's been out of that for almost 5 or 6 years now. That's not the reason. That's why he moved to Denton, because he wanted to get his kids away from it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go look at anything. Yeah, he got the fuck out. And that's why he wanted to raise his kids that's why he really loves Denton. But it's like it's sort of got the small, big kind of city, but still in the country. And so he wanted to raise his kids somewhere really cool, and that's why he is no longer a part of Scientology.
Okay, well that's news to me because last I heard that he was involved in that for a while.
No, he's been out since at least since 2016 or 17.
Okay, good.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
And then speaking of very kind gifts from Clay when we met in person, dude gave me the Rocketeer. Look at that. It's my favorite thing.
This is what comics is about. Like, I enjoyed it, and he enjoys it more. And I just, was able to go back through what I'd bought and just share it with Josh because, like, I love those, but obviously he loves them more. He's getting more out of them.
Well, and it's so great because, like I said before, I had all these in print and I sold them because I bought them on Comixology, which I now regret. So now I have them back in print again. So yay, thank you, man.
And the magazines are weird because they they have Dave Stewart art, original Dave Stewart art. They have like articles. Dave Stevens. They have articles in there about flying and early navigators. So it's kind of like that Rocketeer world in real life.
How to build your own rocket.
I've got the schematics. I stuck bubblegum on the back. I'm good to go. And then finally, just to kind of is the very last thing, and I haven't even read this yet, but finally the collected volume of Doctor Who Empire of the Wolf came out last week. So it's only 3 issues. This is the whole collection. Finally glad to get to read the whole thing. So that's it.
All right. Kyle, do you want to finish off before we move on to, did you?
I have Vader, which it's still going good. He's working with, it's basically one of Padme's former friends and accomplices who basically thinks he's Anakin and trying to find, just working together, and they're trying to take down the Crimson Red organization. And then I read the Justice League Road to Dark Crisis, which basically has a couple of interesting stories, dealing one with Jonathan going to see a Nightwing to talk about his parents being dead, and Nightwing's like saying he got to stop doing this. Your dad's been dead before, and then he's just saying, but what if not? And so it's basically almost in a way Jonathan kind of helping Dick realize I don't need to be Bruce. and basically brings Hal Jordan back to Earth. Doesn't realize the Justice League's dead, and ends up meeting the new Aquaman, and he lets him know what's happening. And then basically another story with Pariah, kind of dealing with the Justice League being dead.
That one was pretty cool, and I wanted to get that cover where he's sitting on the comic book boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw that one at the shop.
I did,
but it was sold out. When I
Yeah.
went, it was sold out, so I wasn't able to get it. But really neat. I did have a question, Kyle, because you probably know. Who the hell is Nocturna? The last stories for Nocturna, like by Stephanie Phillips, and I was like,
I remember her character from somewhere, but I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
I'd have to look it up.
yeah, I was like, who is the? I mean, it looks like a cool character, and she's fighting Batman, but it really sets up something fun for the Dark Crisis, I think, or maybe one of the times. This is the cover I was talking about, which like
yeah, I love that cover.
Chris
That's
Burnham,
awesome.
really cool, reading an old Justice League, and then sitting on the. Although you shouldn't sit on your short boxes, people. I'll tell you that.
They will collapse.
Now, Kyle, did you read anything from your Shonen Jump app? Did you get that?
No, I haven't read
last
it.
time we
I
talked-
haven't read anything.
Okay,
Oh,
I know
man,
last
I
time
was
we
hoping
talked, that
for
was the
some-
big.
Sorry.
That was the big selling point, that you can read so much for $2 a month, and we're not
Still
even
have it,
being
but just haven't
sponsored
done
by
it.
them.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I do have some manga to read as well. So, all right. Well, let's move on to our main topic here. So on today's episode, and this is also for our audio audience. Hello there. We will be talking about our favorite faithful comic adaptations to other media, and and plus maybe some that we hate, because it's also fun to dunk on things every once in a while, like Judge Dredd, 1995. Maybe the second. Yeah, why did he have to make his mouth look like that? He doesn't. I don't know. It's so fucking weird. Anyways, so I know we have a lot of really cool things that have been adapted. But I was talking to Josh before we hopped on. Like, I love the Civil War movie, but that's not an adaptation of the comic. They just grabbed the title.
Right.
Same with, and then I think the Age of Ultron. They announced the movie before the series came out. They did a series because the movie was coming out. So I don't want to talk about stuff that's not faithful. And I can kick us off, and we can talk about a few things. So I told the guys, guess how many Zack Snyder movies are in my pile. But we'll start with something
0.
else. Actually,
He said
what I want to
3.
talk about is
I have 3.
I want to talk about animated stuff first. So on my list, I had the Phoenix Saga was adapted into the X-Men 1990s cartoon.
That's right.
That is the best, most faithful adaptation of that whole story, because it allows it the time that it deserves. We've gotten 2 attempts at making a Dark Phoenix movie that are not bad.
Shit.
They're bad.
They're shit.
So
Simon Kinberg had 2 chances to tell a Dark Phoenix story, and the first one is really bad. The second one is worse.
They're so bad. Kyle left. But he'll be back. But yeah, it's just they don't. I mean, and I don't think it's fully their fault. I think the studio's like, oh, we want to do Dark Phoenix, but like, you can't. Any of those people should be able to tell. Anybody. Like, it doesn't work like that. Chris Claremont set up that story for 2 years in the comics.
Yeah.
Right, which is why the X-Men animated series, which you can watch it on all on Disney Plus now, before they bring us the new one. And yeah, I went back, I checked out a few things, and just they really go through the whole journey with Jean of she meets Mastermind, and then he kind of starts messing with her head, and she uses her Phoenix powers for the good of the team, but then things start to turn, and it really leads. I think the conclusion's a little bit different, but Jean does go away for a little while. But overall, I think that's some of the most faithful stuff. So that was my first one, mainly to kind of illustrate what we're going for here. So let's go back to Josh, and then we'll just kind of go around the horn as we talk about this.
I am really interested to see you guys think about this. So we're doing most faithful and least faithful, right?
Sure.
Okay. to me, to me, the least faithful adaptation is Zack Snyder's Watchmen.
Oh, I disagree.
Because
I wanted to have this debate.
I know, right? What it attempts to do is take something that is quintessentially a comic and basically just convert that into motion pictures. And it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, right? I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying that doing that, it's unfaithful. Sorry, go ahead, Clay.
No. He just doesn't understand the tone from the comics to the big screen. Like, he doesn't get that violence isn't the big be all of this book. In fact, all the action sequences are in 9-grid panels. They're very small.
Yeah.
They aren't meant to be the story. But when you see the violence in Zack Snyder's Watchmen, it's just over the top and it's full screen. Everything is done without much purpose. It seems like, like the sex scene is really fucking awkward. Like, I don't understand that whole thing because that's like not in the comic. I mean, there is a
wait, in the owl ship?
In the owl. Oh, wait, that does happen. That's
in the comic. Yeah.
I keep thinking about the first time they have sex on the couch,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it is a frame for frame adaptation of the comic page, but the tone is not there.
Right, and that's kind of what I wanted to discuss, right? Too, like there's definitely a difference. I think Zack Snyder is going for common. The only thing that I don't agree with in his take is making Rorschach so cool because he's not supposed to be, right? He's supposed to be the weird, crazy dude. I think I like the approach to the Rorschach character and his book that he left behind more in the HBO show. I think that's more faithful to the original material. Yeah. But I think overall, like, this is also just a commentary on what the movies and the comic book movies were turning into in the 90s and 2000s. It's his own take on that. So yeah, he's using the same story, but it's to give us a different message.
This adaptation is better than the original?
No, I'm not saying that. I just think
I am.
Oh, you're okay.
Oh, God.
Good. I like you, Kyle. Hold on, let me move you up.
Because see, here's the argument I was going to make, and I think to Clay's point earlier.
Here's why. Because I like what they did with Dr. Manhattan being the fucking point of why nuclear annihilation might happen if we don't take a different course than some stupid fucking octopus from space.
I do like that angle, but if you see it coming from nowhere, like in the book, in the way that the artist and all the people who got together to create it, that to me, that gave it more purpose. Like, they created the most realistic thing that they could from the minds of these people that they end up killing at the end.
I'm sorry, Clay, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was done.
Well, and again, that's the thing about Watchmen. The original needs to be a comic, right? Because the big bad doesn't make sense because it's created by comic and pulp people. I mean, it's what happens if we took the people making this comic and let them literally create a devastating event. I mean, that's what occurs.
Yeah.
My thing also about, and this goes, you said it so well, Clay. Watchmen, the original, is an indictment and a deconstruction of superheroes and violence.
Right.
And Snyder takes that and glorifies it. And it's so problematic, which is why. Oh, good.
No, I think it's because at the time that's what the movies were doing.
Right. Which is fair. That's a good point. I had not thought of it that way before, right? However, which is why, and I'm really curious what you guys think of this, the most faithful adaptation of Watchmen is the HBO show. And the reason why is because it's not retelling that story. It's taking the idea of deconstruction and the medium and running with it. Yeah. And it is which is why I like it so much more than Snyder's movie, because it's like it's looking at what it. To me, the classic example is the episode towards the end where we get the backstory with Dr. Manhattan and I just blanked on her name.
Night Sister.
Oh,
yes, thank you. Right, because the way that is told is emblematic of the type of conceptual approach that Morrison and Gibbons play with in the comic, but told in a way that works for the medium of. Oh yeah, I said Morrison.
Wrong
Shit,
wizard.
Sorry, I know. Wrong Brit, wrong mage,
wrong warlock.
wrong warlock. And plays with it in storytelling, in using the medium of TV and film, in a conceptual way, right? I mean, it is more faithful, even though it is expanding on that world, than what Snyder attempts to do in his movie.
Yeah. And I feel like the show also kind of had a commentary on Zack Snyder's film, because when they would show the television adaptations, they would glorify the violence, which was not what it was about. But they would show these action sequences of him jumping through like the grocery store window. It was Hooded Justice jumping through a window and just beating the fuck out of people violently. Yeah. And that's not what it was about.
Or even the really, really great episode where you get Hooded Justice's backstory as she's going through his like memories. I mean, and also what is brilliant about Watchmen the show is, rather than being a deconstruction and an indictment of superheroes, it's a deconstruction indictment of race in America. It is. I mean, it takes everything that made Watchmen great, and instead of just rehashing it and transferring it like Snyder does, it expands on it in new ways. I would really, and I don't know if he's ever talked about, I would love to know what Moore thinks about Watchmen the show. Because I feel like...
same.
I feel like he hopefully respects it more than any other adaptation.
I saw some tweets from his daughter that he hadn't really gotten around to watching it, or I don't know if there's a lot of story there, which maybe we should cover at some point in an issue, like later on, like just like there's a lot of really cool interviews that I've seen, especially I don't know why they came up recently, but I've seen them on TikTok, and then I looked at the full interview on YouTube. So maybe we should cover like Watchmen now and then, and the whole thing of like Moore and DC and all that stuff. But yeah, it's very interesting that from the same material you can get two things that are so very different. And that's, and also our definition of what we consider faithful, right? Are we being faithful to the message of the original book? Are we being faithful to the actual story, and the look, the feel, all that? So very interesting. So I think we could talk about Watchmen all day, but we won't.
Oh yeah.
No,
we could break the movie down, the book down, and go through scene by scene and talk about it. But like, I do agree with Kyle with the way they pivoted on Dr. Manhattan. I love the opening song and sequence that catches you up. Like, there are a lot of great elements in Watchmen, but the tone of it is skewed and not on.
If you have 4 hours, watch the Ultimate Director's Cut, because they integrate back. They integrate the Black Freighter story back into. They weave it back into the movie. Which is really good. Gerard Butler voices the main pirate dude, which is cool.
But here's what's so strange is, which I do agree. I like that extended cut. Like if I'm going to watch any cut of the movie, it's going to be that one. But you get all the Black Freighter stuff, and then it never ties in, because you don't get the ending that's in the comic, which is that's all essential to that, right? So, yeah. Anyway,
all right, Clay, what do you have for us? You got anything?
Let's stay with Zack Snyder and go to 300
all day, baby. This could be an all Snyder episode for you.
I mean, you go from Watchmen, where he doesn't quite get the tone right, to 300, where he gets everything right. This is a story about violence and war, and And that's what Zack Snyder does well. Like if you look at his action sequences and from other films, like what he gets is the violence, right, and that's all 300 is.
Yeah. I think the reason that the sequel prequel thing did not work out was because I don't think he was as involved. But yeah, just looking at
how do
the
you do a
visual
sequel
elements,
to 300? That's the fucking
it was-
weirdest thing.
Yeah, it was a sequel prequel, right? Because it was like it gave you backstory before everything from the other point of view of the other army or whatever. Then 300 happens, and then after that they catch up afterwards after the army's been defeated. It was an interesting concept. I don't think it fully worked, but I do love Eva Green, so whatever. But yeah, this movie visually, like it so much reflects what the original material came from. And I think this is one of the reasons that they're like, oh, Zack Snyder's a comic book guy, right? DC was like
for 300
looking at some of this stuff and they're like, oh, he can do it. And I think he can for certain books, probably, maybe not all of them, because the characters are very different all across DC Comics.
But you can definitely find the panels that he mimicked straight out of the book into this film. Like, the cliff where they're pushing all the warriors off and they're all falling to their death. He does it, and he does it like right out of the comic. It's just an image with just heavy black inks of bodies falling, and that's all you see. All he's done is create motion within that panel. But again, it pays off. It's a good film. It hits every note that it's supposed to.
Has Zack Snyder never done a comic? Like why has he not made comics is my question.
Yeah, I don't know.
It probably doesn't pay as well.
He doesn't draw. I mean, he storyboards his own stuff, so he has at least a visual eye for it. When he does when we were in lockdown, he was doing those watch-alongs on Vero, the truest social platform out there, and yeah, he was going through the storyboards like that he did himself. So like I just want to show like some of the art from 300, like Xerxes and Leonidas confronting each other. Like if you go back and look at the movie, this is pretty much the storyboard for those scenes, right?
Yeah.
Right. So he storyboards them himself by just cutting up the pages from the comics. I mean,
he's a literal guy. He takes what it is and makes it into the film, but he doesn't always get the tone right. But I feel like 300 was a win. It's not one I often watch and rewatch, but I feel like it's the closest adaptation he's ever done successfully.
Before we go on to the next one, I want to stay in the Frank Miller camp and talk about Sin
that's
City.
the next one on my list.
Okay, good.
Sin City?
Sin City is 8 adaptations
the
into
first
one
one
movie.
The first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about I think the second one does not hit the mark like the first one did.
Right. But you have The Hard Goodbye, A Dame to Kill For, Big Fat Kill, That Yellow Bastard, Family Values, Booze, Broads, and Bullets, and Hell and Back. I mean, all those stories kind of wrapped into a neat, and the look of it. Like, I don't think Robert Rodriguez is such a fan. Like, if you don't have him involved, that film never gets made.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Well, and case in point, if we go from excellent adaptation, which is, I agree, Sin City, to the exact same style, worst adaptation, The Spirit. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because again, it's like directors like Miller, directors like sometimes Snyder are so obsessed with the visuals that, like you're saying, Clay, they miss the tone.
Right.
And man, The Spirit is such a miss, whereas it works beautifully here. And I agree, and I think it works beautifully here because it's Rodriguez, it's not Miller, right? So
yeah, because they're co-directors on this, and I mean, look at the yellow blood staining Bruce Willis in this. I mean, like there's just so much in this. Like I want to pick through and go, like this is a win, this is a win, this is a win. But like casting,
there's a shot of Elijah Wood. Like when you first see him, and it's just like the outline and the glasses.
Yeah, and the glasses. Yeah,
I
love that.
I mean, and then the guy who does that Yellow Bastard and all the makeup and the heavy, like, he looks like he's right out of the comic. It's just done so well.
So I think what we're saying is Frank Miller comics are probably pretty good to adapt to the screen if you get it visually right.
If he's not a part of it.
I was going to say
Because-
Yeah, exactly.
then you would have to say that Ben Affleck's Daredevil was a good adaptation of a Frank Miller comic.
Was it? Was it not?
No, I mean
Was it not?
I mean, it had. Oh God, the makeup,
So
the
good.
bandages, like everything in that scene was so goddamn
I think
good. with
getting
art.
Mickey Rourke to do this character was one of the highlights of this movie.
Yeah, and this is before The Wrestler, right? This is when he wasn't like he was down
Yeah.
and out. Like
This is before this
basically
and
was
Iron
this
Man 2.
character. Yeah. Because he does The Wrestler and then he does Iron Man 2. Like then he kind of bounces back with this film.
All right.
But
Let's
yeah,
see.
those are my Zack Snyder, Frank Miller bundle.
Good. We got out of the edgelord corner, and we can move on to other things. Kyle, do you have anything you want to?
Oh yeah,
chat?
I'm gonna go straight on with Alan Moore. From his 80s, for the man who had everything, Justice League Unlimited.
Yes. Oh, that's a great one.
That's on my list as well.
And it's
solid.
Not 2.5 hours. It's only a half hour.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That is one of the
that's a really good one.
League episodes.
That one, yeah, it's just no. I mean, the only thing they really changed up in the whole damn thing was there's no Robin and the presents they bring for him. But other than that, it's everything. They go to the fortress. Superman's got the black rose on his chest, and they had to take on Mongol. It's it's just an awesome story. And then when they wake Superman up and he realizes I'm about to lose my son in Krypton, you hear him just go Mongol, and he just tears into the asshole. It's just like,
oh man, yeah, that is so good.
If I'm not mistaken, that is one of the things that Alan Moore actually like he put his name to, like when they adapted.
Oh, interesting.
Wow.
I know he didn't do a lot of dealings with DC afterwards or whatever, but yeah, this is one of the things that he was like, sure, yeah, this is a great
even you can find any collection that has Alan Moore collection has this story in there.
Yeah. And it's a great story. Like just a really cool, I think it's just one annual, right?
Yeah, just one annual.
It's fantastic. I agree. That was definitely
it's
also
like
on
prestige format, isn't it? Like a little thicker book.
There we go.
Oh yeah, yeah, that'll be in there.
Oh yeah, it's the first story, I believe. Yeah, it is.
I mean, we could break down those Justice League cartoons and tell you what to read for that issue. That one's actually a perfect adaptation. But there are some others that are in there that are pretty good. But that Justice League show was fantastic.
This is the almost page for page adaptation. Everything else in that series is, it's based on something, but not as closely as this is.
Yeah, this episode is pretty much like this is the comic. Like,
yeah,
right.
I agree. All right, is it back to me? I think
back to you.
So I do want to give a shout out to a few people. Mike responded as well with Sin City. Mike, who was on here a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think, and also, in my when I tweeted out like about giving us some feedback, I put a Kick-Ass GIF on there because I think at least the first Kick-Ass movie very much adapts the comic very well. Because I have actually read that comic, so I was like, "Oh, this will work," and something I can actually chime in about. So that was really, really fun. A lot of people had thoughts about Watchmen and Sin City. A lot of people were yelling about Scott Pilgrim. Now, I haven't read the series, but I've seen the movie. Well, I mean, I guess I don't because I watched the movie.
Yeah.
No, the series is very different.
Yeah, it is. It is.
When you get to the end, it's very different from the movie.
Really, the only thing it really is the same is his love interest, and then him taking on the 7 deadly X's. Outside of that, the way it kind of goes through is different in the book.
Yeah, but I like that core element. Like Edgar Wright just took it and adapted it for film with the video game theme that just pays off and works.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I put it down as one of the adaptations I love just because it uses the original art. It stays true. I mean, Scott Pilgrim's kind of a dick for, he's dating an underage girl. And so that's your hero. So you're already in a weird area anyway. It's a complex story about a guy who just can't figure his own shit out.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're right. I think there were a lot of that, a lot of those stories in the late '90s where it was like,
that was indie comics. Then it was just
Yeah.
dudes who were like, "What the fuck?" I don't, trying to figure their shit out and doing comics about it.
in that
Box
same
Office
vein,
Poison's a great example.
Ghost World. Have you guys read and or watched Ghost World?
Ghost World's my number one pick.
Yeah. Okay.
It's and it's so funny because you take the two films he made based on books. Ghost World's fantastic. Art School Confidential is awful.
No,
Like,
God,
it just
no
like
kidding.
how are these so different when you're using in many ways kind of the same type of source material?
Yeah.
So just watch the first 20 minutes of Art School Confidential and it's great, and then stop and walk away.
Yeah.
Having been to art school, the first 20 minutes of that movie is art school. It's really good. And that's basically what the comic is. And then it gets weird. It's like, I don't know if he felt like he had to do something to tie it together or what, but there you go. I have two other, I think, really good adaptations.
All right.
One is, oh God, I just blanked on it. Shit.
You want me to take over? Because I could talk about Ghost World.
No, I've got one more. And I've only seen the first film, but the live action film adaptation of 20th Century Boys is really good. It's on my Plex server, so go check it out. It's really, really good, and it takes a story that in the manga is pretty down to earth. It's not like, well, it starts off pretty down to earth. I mean, like, just case in point, the opening of the movie is this entire sequence.
Okay, I love that book.
Yeah. So, and American Splendor. That was what I was trying to think of.
Shit, that's the one I forgot about.
It is an amazing, amazing adaptation, and one that, again, like, it's not just recreating what the comic does. It takes the core conceit of the comic and the creator and his story and kind of mashes it together in, I think, a really brilliant way.
Yeah, there's even a scene in there where the actors who are playing the characters are in the back at craft services while the people they're portraying are in the front. And it's a very meta scene, but you see them interact, so you could see that they're really doing a great job of playing these two people. Oh, okay. But I forgot about American. That's an adaptation of Our Cancer Year.
It does. Yeah, it's like some of the earlier American Splendor stuff, and then Our Cancer Year.
Okay, because I have Quitter, which is one of the later books that was never adapted, but it's another great story by him.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like after the movie came out, the next book he did was actually not about him. It was like his friend that came back from the war, right?
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. It's such a good movie. If you've never seen American Splendor,
you're never going to find a more independent comic than American Splendor. That was a guy. I mean, and if you watch the movie, he is very like excited about the medium. He wants to tell his stories, but he's a clerk. He's an office clerk. That's his job to just get through life, and he's very miserable. But he wants to tell a story. Like, you're watching a guy struggle to tell his art in this art form that he loves. Like, even Richard or Robert Crumb is like in the film because they're like friends and exchange artwork.
Played by Dr. Venture.
Yeah, but American Splendor is a fantastic film.
All right,
like,
I'm
if
gonna
you haven't
throw
seen
it
it,
to Kyle.
Read it and watch it.
I'm gonna throw it to Kyle because he sent a message through the.
I think it's a decent one.
Sorry.
I think it's, like I said, I always say it's 30 minutes too short, but I think out of all the DC anime stuff, New Frontier was a decent.
Yeah, that is a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very faithful in both art style and the actual story itself. I think they make a few changes to kind of make it fit, but it's nothing that would really change the story.
Right.
It goes back and takes place around the same time period that the original comic does. So I definitely
And then,
agree.
and then they have that end where they have that speech. Was it from Kennedy or kind of? Or was
Yeah.
it, yeah. When they acknowledge the Silver Age, like the Titans and Supergirl and everybody else, and the Legion of Superheroes just kind of emerge. It's just
It's wild to have a president kind of acknowledge that in the speech. I really love the adaptation just because it took the Darwin Cook art and made it live.
Yeah. Yeah, and in that same vein, it's my next thing. Because sometimes it's hard to adapt some of these things, but I think DC really nailed it when they adapted to live action, and actually it takes two movies because it's a pretty long story. Dark Knight Returns. I think both of these they're almost like it. I think the art obviously is not. It doesn't look like Frank Miller art.
Right.
But other than that, like this is the same story. You still get some of those like graphic beats, especially towards the end with the fight. Like all the main points, like the story with the Joker, the thing with the mutants meeting Carrie Kelly, like all that stuff. It's all everything is in there. Um, so I think as much as this is, and like I said, I think other unless you really need that Frank Miller art, it even opens the same way. Like the opening sequence is the same, just Bruce in the car. Like are you trying to kill yourself or whatever the case. So I think out of the animated stuff, I was hesitant when they said they were going to adapt it. I felt a little better when they said it was going to be two parts because I was like, I've read this book, even though it's only 3 issues long. They're like super extra. 4 issues long. They're still extra long, prestige size issues, right?
Yeah.
So it's not as easy. You're right. I always forget that there's the Superman stuff at the end. And like the comic, well, I guess the original comic didn't really do this, but this movie kind of does leave it kind of open a little bit to like, there's probably more afterwards. I know the comic.
No, the comic does.
It does, but I feel like it's more vague about it, like because only Superman kind of hears the heartbeat at the end.
Yeah.
Where the movie feels a little more explicit. I don't know if they wanted to maybe do more after that. It's always weird with the animated stuff because it feels like they're always trying to lead you to the next thing, even if it's not fully connected or whatever.
This doesn't need a next thing. That's what they don't understand is like certain things are standalone. Like you can't build a franchise over a movie called I Am Legend where the guy dies. Like, and that's like what Warner Brothers is trying to do. And like in Dark Knight Returns, like the end is the end. That's it.
This is the end. Oh, mama. Sorry, I got distracted looking at some stuff on eBay.
Batman.
Oh, shit.
Oh, look at these. I already have them. I don't need them
Holy
again.
shit. How much is that going for?
$715.
Damn.
Wow.
And you can't even read them.
You really can't. I already own all these, so I don't need to buy this, but it's nice that they're slab.
Yeah.
So is the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say the slab in comics is probably a topic for a different episode, but
yeah.
Go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Well, so would you guys say, because I feel like I'm the only one like picking worst adaptations. Would you say
I have a list.
Oh, do you? Is the worst DC animated adaptation Killing Joke?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That's the main thing I put on my list.
No, I would say Injustice.
Oh, that's really? Also pretty bad.
Oh, I haven't seen Injustice.
So. I guess
Killing Joke at least stays like a little more true to the story. Injustice just takes it to like, what the fuck are we even watching?
But Batman and Batgirl hooking up is weird.
It's weird.
Again, it happened in the animated series, so I can let it go.
I can't. Sorry,
I can't.
Azzarello, that's a miss because he wrote that script. So that's a miss for me. I do have one more thing, and this may be a little more controversial. I think the animated Spider-Man series did a great job adapting the Clone Saga.
I was going to ask if they adapted the Clone Saga. Did it take place over 18 years?
They didn't. No, they adapt. What they tried to adapt was the Secret Wars, which was horrible.
No, I'm pretty sure there's a whole clone thing that
No,
because
the Clone Saga basically after Secret Wars, the last 2 episodes deals with basically a Carnage infected Peter Parker is about to destroy the world, and so they bring in different versions of Peter Parker from the Spider Verse to help stop it. And so basically, Peter from the normal Spider animated universe is the one who's supposed to lead it. But we get Ben Riley, Scarlet Spider. We get Spider Man with the 8 arms. We get Spider Man who's like created, who has no powers, but basically creates his own suit of armor. And we have a billionaire Spider Man who basically is like Bruce Wayne, but is wearing the silver armor that he created to take on Electro.
I very clearly remember Ben Riley showing up and also Mary Jane becoming water.
Yeah, because she it's a copy of who was it? It was the Jackal. It wasn't the actual Jackal, but it was the doctor who was the Jackal.
Yeah,
basically made a carbon copy of her from and I think it was also Hydra Man, because she dated Hydra Man for a little bit in the thing, and that's basically after she basically disappears. Madam Web pulls him in with the Beyonder to do the Secret Wars. They bring in the Fantastic Four, Storm, Iron Man, and Captain America to take on the bad guys, and then the last 2 episodes deals with him having to stop his evil self in that last 2-parter. It's basically the Spider-Verse before we ever even had the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but I mean, it feels, I don't know, I always remember that one being pretty, I don't know, it feels to me like it was good. Well, I guess better than the Clone Saga. Now, one thing a lot of people responded to was the Spawn animated series on HBO.
Oh,
but I haven't read enough Spawn comics to know if that's the case or not.
No. I'm going to go one different. Not Spawn, the Max.
Yeah, I was about to bring up the Max. Yeah,
a few people mentioned the Max.
Yep.
Too. But I've neither read nor seen the Max, so I was not able to judge, but I did write it on the notes, like in case you guys brought it up.
In a lot of ways, it was almost like they just took the comic panels and put it to animation.
Yeah.
But I mean, but in a way that wasn't
not
like
bad.
A motion comic, like it was, I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, when the whole Image revolution began, the Max was like the only comic I liked of that whole original generation, because it was all just
Savage.
It was all pretty. Okay, sorry.
Savage Dragon was fun. Yeah,
I did like that too. Those were the only two: Savage Dragon and Max. So, and then for a very brief period, Bone. So,
I've never seen the Savage Dragon animated show, but
I haven't either. Oh, I've got a good one. A really, really good one.
Yeah.
The Tick animated series.
Oh yeah, that was pretty great.
I mean, it's not a direct adaptation of the comics, except when it is, like when they go to the superhero club. But I mean, but for the most part, it's like it takes what makes the Tick so great, and then just somehow like just runs with it in ways that are just genuinely funny. So
it's the voice acting. I mean, that's what
it is. The voice acting. Yeah,
they nailed it with the Tick.
And also, I'm the Midnight Bomber, he who bombs at midnight.
What about the Tick TV shows stick pretty close to?
I like the original live action one quite a lot, even though it got cut short. I've had a really hard time with the Amazon one. I don't know why. I have. So
yeah, I don't.
Is it because it wasn't Patrick Warburton?
Kind of.
The role?
But Peter Serafinowicz is still really good in that role. Like he plays, I don't know, like he plays that type of character pretty well, I feel like. I just don't know why it doesn't work. It just doesn't feel like you're in that world.
There was something in the first episode where they had to give Arthur that really tragic backstory that it immediately put me off, because the thing about the Tick is it's not tragic. The Tick is the embodiment of just like joyful hubris. I mean, just, and so, yeah, it was a weird decision to make. So,
I have one more too that I think it's really faithful, and overall, I think I enjoyed both the comic but you guys may disagree. M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
That's based on a comic?
That is based on a comic called
I did not know that.
Sandcastle by Frederick Peters and Pierre Oscar Levy. And I think like after I watched the movie, I was like, wait, this is the same thing, same reaction. This is based on a comic. Let me go check it out. And I read the graphic novel Sandcastle. The graphic novel is obviously better but the comic is very faithful, where it's pretty much almost kind of the same. I would say approach that Zack Snyder took, where it's like, yeah, this is gonna be pretty much like shot by shot, story by story, and then I'm gonna change the ending a little bit because this is M. Night Shyamalan, so he has to make it.
I got to twist it more.
In the comic, you never get an explanation of what's going on, but in the movie you do, and that's really the only difference, right? But like I said, if you're a Shyamalan completionist, you probably have to check this out. But if you haven't by this point, I don't know. He gets a bad rap, but like I like about half of his movies. So except
The Last Airbender.
Unbreakable is a fucking great comic book movie.
Well,
Oh, it is. It's amazing. Yeah, it's
Split
without any source material. Yeah.
yeah. But then you have The Last Airbender. Like I love how we can take a single director and have a great adaptation and the most abysmal adaptation.
He only wrote The Last Airbender, right? I don't think he directed.
No, he directed it.
He turned it into a bullshit piece of crap.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was waiting for Kyle's anger.
He went into a great story and basically said, well, there's nothing about this franchise that says anything's supposed to be Asian. Fuck you! Everything about this says it's supposed to be Asian. The creator, the fucking names, the fucking martial arts, the goddamn world. And you fucking took it and butcherized it, you piece of shit. Okay, I'm done.
Give in to your hate, Kyle.
Oh my god. This is like, he took one of the greatest animated series in the last 15 years and just went, oh, let's whitewash everything and making this little piece of shit in film. It's like, oh my god, how did you even get to be a director?
Wow, it feels like the internet came alive.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I don't like that movie either, but that's the reason I don't talk about it.
And then of course you got James Cameron, who's got to steal the name so he can't call it Avatar. It's like, fuck you and your fucking Smurf franchise. You know, it's taking you 15 years to get second damn film out.
Oh, I feel the hate. Give in to your hate. Join the dark side.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I know you guys have a few things you hate, so we'll get to that to close off. But I have a list of things, and I just want a quick touch, like, is this good or not? Because I pulled a list from popoptic.com, whatever. They have 50 greatest adaptations. They put in The Adventures of Tintin. I've never watched a Tintin comic. I've never watched.
Actually, yeah, no, that is a really good. I forgot about that one. That is good.
Never saw it.
It's worth it. It's good.
I'm not saying it's not. Yeah, I just never saw it.
One thing I wanted to clarify is we didn't do manga to anime because I feel like that's its own thing.
There's too much we'd have to go through to even try to see.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every manga tries to remain super faithful, unless the anime surpasses, like it moves ahead
Dragon
of the manga,
Ball,
right?
Naruto, One Piece.
Yeah. Full Metal Alchemist did his whole, like, they wrote a whole new ending and then they redid the anime with once the manga was actually done. I also have here V for Vendetta. I don't know if you guys think that's
it's awful. Yeah. Why would it's okay, hang on. Let me backtrack that a bit.
As a film, it's not too bad, but as an adaptation, it's not great.
If of all the Alan Moore adaptations, it's the most faithful. Right? Okay. But it still doesn't achieve what the comic does.
Right.
So,
I have the Hellboy movies, but I don't know what stories they're pulling from. So I don't.
Yeah, it's hard to say which specific ones.
The last movie, the 2016 one, I did read. That's pretty much everything from. I think it's volume 3 of Hellboy.
And it pulls from 1 too, doesn't it? I think it pulls from volume 1.
I know,
like the whole. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, whatever volume pulls from, I know I've read it. What about The Crow? I've never seen The Crow, and I feel like I should.
Original, maybe.
You've never seen The Crow?
Yeah, it's on the list.
I feel like the film version of The Crow is better than the comic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, it carries dark tones and dark looks, but the film pays off in such big ways that the motion captures it way better than the comic does. It gets the gritty, dark look so good, and just Eric Draven, man. that whole Eric Draven look like they
Yeah.
tried to recast that role. He never looks as much as like the character as when Brandon Lee played him.
All right. Real quick, Flash Gordon, the movie.
It's a fun film, but I don't know. I wouldn't call it a great adaptation.
Yeah, it's fun, but you're not going to go rush out and read Flash number 1.
Now, what about? Have you guys seen Blue is the Warmest Color?
No.
No. I didn't realize those were based on comics.
I didn't realize that either until I saw this list. They also have Barbarella.
I would say Barbarella is probably a pretty good adaptation. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Yeah, and let's see. I'm trying to move quickly to this list. A History of Violence is one of the reasons I want to read it because I know that's based on a comic, and it's a Cronenberg film with Viggo Mortensen. So, also Snowpiercer is on the list. I haven't seen. I've watched the movie, but I've never read the French graphic novel it's based on.
Yeah, I've never read.
What about
It's got to be dark?
Movie? I think we're about to get into some of those 90 pulp movies that Josh loves. Starting with maybe Dick Tracy, which maybe he doesn't love as much.
I just rewatched it. It's a fun movie. I think when it came out right in the aftermath of Batman 89, and people were expecting dark and gritty. Revisiting that movie, it is beautifully shot, and I don't know. I enjoyed it, and I'd say it's a pretty faithful adaptation to a certain.
Just the look, the adaptation of every bad character into makeup and work on the screen is fucking fantastic.
What about the Phantom with Billy Zane?
I like it.
Is that? Do you know if that's from a specific story?
I don't think so. I think it's just based on.
I think
it's just based on the character. Yeah,
which feels the same way with the Shadow.
Yeah.
The Shadow, all right, I will say the Shadow does something really interesting. What the Shadow does is because the radio series and the pulp novels are very different, and it takes both of those and kind of mashes them together. So you have like you have him playing sort of the character from the radio series. You have the love interest from the radio series. You have the cab driver from the radio series, but like the opening scene of that is very, not directly, but very similar to the opening scene of the first book. I think I've read the first 5 books, so it's good. I like the Shadow. So
now I wanted to. I thought about this and I was like, should I include the Winter Soldier or not? I feel like that one has a lot of things that it does pull from the Brubaker story.
Right,
but because of the bigger Marvel MCU picture, it strays a little bit.
If we're gonna do that, can we technically count the second Raimi Spider-Man film?
Well, and that's why I ended up not putting it on my list. But I thought about. I'm just kind of going through which Sam Raimi Spider-Man is also on this
list. Second one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the second one, but I'm trying to think of what the story like.
What's the story that pulls from? Is it
Spider-Man giving up? Like, remember, there's that scene when he puts.
Oh, the no more.
Spider-Man.
Okay.
Yeah, the no more. Spider-Man.
I listed out performances in bad films that we should still watch. Like New Mutants isn't a perfect adaptation of the Demon Bear, but Anya Taylor-Joy playing Magic is fucking on. I mean, like, she nails that character in every way, and it's worth watching that film just to see her. And I'll say Wolfsbane as well. I mean, she does a good job as Wolfsbane. I'm sorry, I can't remember the actress's name from Game of Thrones. Maisie Williams.
Williams. Now, the number 1 movie on their list is Old Boy, the Korean film, not Spike Lee's. Which I watched Spike Lee's. I haven't watched the original one because we were still getting around to going back to do Old Boy.
Yeah.
From a while back. But yeah, I mean, this one also kind of feels like falls into the manga trope a little bit because it's just a live version of the manga.
But it is different. It is the manga's 6 issue or 8 issues and has a different ending and more characters tied into it than the film does.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have anything else before we start dunking on some stuff? I know you guys have a few things that you want to.
Oh, I mean, I want to talk about Ghost World more, just because
Sure. Sure. Go
Dan
ahead.
Klaus wrote a lot
Yeah.
of vignettes about these young girls
Oh.
that was transformed into a story with Steve Buscemi at the core of it. That just is the perfect comic book movie. Like
Wow.
that is the perfect adaptation for me. Even though the stories are all vignettes and by themselves in the book, they still show up on the screen. They still, I mean, the moments of them in the diner drawing, they show all the drawings. Everything kind of pays off. And I just love that film. That film's like a picture of a time period in America that's just unbelievable. And having those two commentary on it is great.
I gotta bounce.
All
Okay.
right, later, Kyle. Thank you.
Later, Kyle.
Yeah. All right, but I could do later.
I have seen Ghost World, and Clay, I'll tell you this: I hate the main character,
Enid.
I don't like her at all.
Yeah,
and
It's kind of a Dan Klaus
I
thing.
think that's supposed to be the case.
Yeah. You're never
so I
really
do
supposed to
appreciate
like.
that.
You should go read like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron. You will hate everybody in that book.
Okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think from
Enid-
what, I don't know.
Enid
if I
may
read
or
the
may
book
not
from
die at the end.
Yeah, there's definitely things there, but I think it's great. It's nice. It's funny to see Scarlett Johansson as a small child acting.
Well, she's
out.
playing at 15.
Yeah. I mean, from what I guess it hasn't been that long. It's from the late '90s, so I guess it's not terribly old, but it feels like it's been forever.
Yeah,
I mean, we're getting up into the
it's 2001.
20 years. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
been 20 years.
I want to drop two others, just small notes.
Sure.
The Walking Dead episode 1 and 2 is fucking spot on. I mean,
Yes.
Frank Darabont doing The Walking Dead nailed everything about that show in the first two episodes, and then it just changed from there.
It really went a different way, but I agree with you. There's a lot of like throughout the whole show. There's a lot of things that like, oh look, this is a panel from the comic, right? Like when Abraham and gang show up. But they changed the story so much. Some of the characters they focus on, it's very different sometimes from the comic. Somebody also threw out the suggestion of Invincible. It's very close to the original material, even if it's rearranged a little bit. The way it happens, which I definitely agree with. Because I read volume 1 and 2 of Invincible, which kind of covers the first season. And I think that's all the shout outs we got from other people. But what was it? Do you have one more?
Yeah, Constantine. The Keanu Reeves adaptation of Dangerous Habits by Garth Ennis. Is I wouldn't say perfect, because if you want to get down to the details of Constantine, you can say, well, he's not British and blonde and all that.
Yeah.
But the story still has some of the greatest panels of Constantine flipping off. Who's the angel that's in there?
Galadriel.
Yeah, as he's being pulled away. There are just moments in there that really pay off. He's
flicking off Satan.
Yeah, it's Satan.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was an angel for some reason.
No, because he thought he had him, and then he finally, like God is like, all right, fine, come up or whatever. So,
yeah,
that movie gets a lot of hate for no reason. I feel.
I agree.
It was an early DC movie that got the dirty, gritty Vertigo right.
Well, and just I will never forget going to see it, and I was reluctant because it's Keanu and whatever. But when I realized they were doing Dangerous Habits, I was like, what a ballsy ass story to convert into a movie to introduce a character that most people do not know.
Right.
And they did a fantastic job. I like that movie. I do not have any qualms about it.
Right.
Even with Keanu. So
yeah. And I have like two other performances from bad films that I still think people should check out, in addition to Anya Taylor-Joy. Thomas Hayden Church as Sandman.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to the Sandman, he just kind of plays a sympathetic villain that I think that if he doesn't work it well in that film, you don't see him in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Like in No Way Home, he's the exact same thing and he pulls it off, and it works really well. And Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone don't get enough credit for kind of carrying Spider-Man in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Their relationship and their chemistry is the only thing in that film that really works. and I still think it's worth seeing just to see those two.
Yeah,
sorry.
In that same vein, I think shit, I just lost. Go ahead, Josh. I'll come back to it.
That's all right. Well, and I was going to say, to the same point about Hayden Church's Sandman, and that's why he's in No Way Home, that relationship gets resolved in No Way Home, right? When he saves MJ. It's like, and you feel it. I mean, God, I was tearing up at that moment. It's just like, oh God, it hits you so hard.
All right. Okay. I remember what I was going to say. In the same vein, I think the fight between Punisher and the Russian from Thomas Jane's The Punisher, that's straight out of the comics. And I would have maybe
terrible adaptation.
It's a bad adaptation because they changed the villain from Ma Nyucky to John Travolta, which doesn't make sense. They said they changed the setting to move it down to Florida for some reason.
Yeah.
Because when I think Punisher, I think palm trees.
Yeah, exactly. But that fight is almost like, it almost feels like panel for panel from the comic. Kevin Nash as the Russian, like, he really looks like the character.
He looks like it. That's really the only thing that kind of works in that whole film is the Russian scene.
So there's little bits, I think, in a lot of movies and stuff that, and that gets more into the Easter eggs versus the faithful adaptations from the main premise of this episode. But I think we covered a wide span. Was there anything you guys wanted to, before we move on to the recommendation and close out?
Can I've got two adaptations forthcoming I'm excited about.
Oh, sure.
And I'm curious which way they're going to land.
Morbius
One
too.
Is yes, no.
Still Morbid.
What is still Morbid?
Morbid time.
Morbid time. One is Ms. Marvel, which everything I keep reading about is, despite the fact they're changing her powers, I've been reading more and more about how they're trying to be so faithful to the original run of the comic. And I love that run. And if they can capture that in the show, I think it's going to be just blow your socks off great. The other one is the upcoming Sandman. And seeing that first trailer and how they're really running with, like, I mean, I think they're doing the first two books, and if they can pull it off, it's going to be fascinating, right? Really fascinating to see this on screen.
Heavy horror in those first two books.
It is,
and then it just shifts tone throughout the rest.
I know.
Of the series. So
I know.
Really
it's like, and so I'm kind of curious if they're going to use, because to me, like, the linchpin moment in those first two volumes is the story with Death. So if they can use that to kind of bridge the two stories, and because that's really the first story that alludes to what the rest of the series is going to be like, right? Yeah. After the first two volumes. So I don't know. I'll be really intrigued to see how that comes off. But
yeah. The last thing I want to throw out there, and I know it wasn't super faithful in season 1, but I think after that, Preacher got a lot more close to the books.
It did. Season 2 was a lot closer to the books. Yeah.
I'm not saying
because season 1 was supposed to be a prequel type, like a before issue 1.
Yep.
I don't feel like the relationship between the Preacher and Tulip was as good as it was in the comic, and that's what really broke the show for me, because they had this relationship as children. They had this backstory that wasn't in the books.
Yeah.
And I felt like that kind of disturbed it a little bit. You know, they still wanted to say Until the End of the World was like their relationship thing, because like that's kind of what they were going through. But the End of the World just didn't work in them having this childhood romance.
I think
just didn't like it.
The Arseface story is a little bit different too, right? I think they changed.
It's very different. Yeah,
but I like it. I thought it was interesting. It was the inclusion of certain characters from historical characters. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? It's in the same vein of The Boys, which is why I'm loving the show too, because like they're just kind of they're taking both of these are Garth Ennis, so it makes perfect sense.
I was gonna say we've done a lot of Garth Ennis today.
So yeah, I think
it's. Well, sorry, I was gonna say it's kind of like, I think a lot of the things we liked about certain adaptations is it's not a Snyder panel for panel. It's taking the core tone and essence of something and making something kind of new with it, right? And Preacher, give or take. I mean, again, I think once I got into the rhythm of the first season and realized, okay, we're not just getting the comic, I got into it more and more. Again, to me, the scene that nailed that first season is just when Cassidy and and Preacher realize that if they keep killing the angels, they keep coming back, and you just get this like hotel room just piled up with angel bodies, and that's where I was like, oh, they get it. Okay, they get it. This is what Preacher's always about. It's about over the top violence that makes you laugh. And all right, I'm in. So yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, that's the episode. For our audio listeners, thank you for listening. Make sure to subscribe, rate the podcast on all these platforms. Thanks to the Geek Collective for having us on their channel. For the video listeners or video watchers, however you say that, let's go through recommendations real quickly to close out the show. And I can kick us off because I do want to talk about Maverick, Top Gun Maverick. Best blockbuster I've seen in fucking years. I can't.
How many
stop
blockbusters have you seen?
A lot.
In
All
years?
of them really. So very excited for that. So yeah, if you can go to the movies, check that out. It should be on Paramount sometime soon. I mean, they just dropped Sonic 2. Also, if you're a Harry Potter fan, and you kind of want to still watch the movies without talking about it online, like me, I really enjoyed the third movie that dropped on HBO Max this week, The Secrets of Dumbledore. Jude Law is great. Matt Mikkelsen, I really enjoyed him as Grindelwald, and I think it really recovers from the missteps from the second movie, which I did not enjoy as much. So go check that out.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll throw out, go pick up the DC Pride anthology next week because it has so many cool stories. I'm so excited. I've read a bunch of them. The only one I haven't read was the Kevin Conroy one, who voiced Batman, voices Batman for a long time. So that one was not in the review copy that I received. So I haven't read that one, but there's so many cool stories, many fan favorites here.
That was on my list. I just submitted and I took it off last minute. So I'll have to buy it off the shelf.
Alyssa Wong, Stephanie Williams, Danny Lore, Danny Fernandez, if you watch the YouTubes. And then, like I said, Kevin Conroy has a story. So very cool stuff, a lot of fun. And these anthologies are just fun. They introduce a lot of characters that you've never seen sometimes, or they expand the lore. My boy Tim Drake's getting his own story because, of course. So, yeah, very excited for that.
I can go next.
Sure.
Speaking of Pride Month and also like Top Gun Maverick, things that are over the top gay, I want to point you to a Humble Bundle. Let me share this. Share screen.
Yeah, I saw your recommendation and I was like, oh, I wonder. I mean, there's got to be stuff in here I haven't read. I think a lot of these stories I'm reading more now because they're putting them out. It feels like they're more prominent, which is really cool, but there's still a lot of stuff that I haven't seen. I'm going to add us to stream, so if you want to switch to the Humble Bundle page, there we go.
Yeah, okay. So so they're doing a Pride Month bundle, and for $25 you get 58 items. So much of this is stuff that is just amazing, including 3 of the most recent Jaime Hernandez Love and Rocket stories. Love Bunglers is hands down one of the most amazing Jaime Love and Rocket stories ever. And that's saying a lot because he has so many good stories. But that's only one of 3 in here. There's also, I have not read Is This How You See Me? And I may get it just to read this. God and Science, Return of the T-Girls is in here.
Wind's really good. I know you moved past that one, but really good.
Sorry.
James Tynion not doing horror.
Yep. Cosmo Knights, Be Gay Do Comics is a great anthology.
Lumberjanes, which we read.
Kevin Keller.
Lumberjanes is amazing. I mean, look, you get the complete women's comics, which is just, a classic of underground comics. A bunch of Kevin Keller. We read The Fifth Beatle for Comic Club. It's an excellent book.
That's a great story.
Fence is also really great. It feels like a manga, and it is about fencing.
That's what I thought it was a manga.
Really? Okay. Wait, where is that? Oh, there it is.
Right there.
And then
really cool.
Wait, there was something else in here I was going to show off. Oh, I didn't realize it was that Enigma. Enigma! It's worth it just for Enigma, the classic Vertigo book by Pete Milligan. And Duncan Fagretto's in here. Holy shit, the definitive edition. Boom. I'm getting it just for that.
And
Yeah, because Duncan's art is
book.
fantastic.
Oh, that's an amazing book.
Mama, which I read, which I talked. That was my recommendation from the last show, Mammo Volume 1.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Mooncakes is great. The Love is Love anthology.
Yeah.
Sabrina,
lots of Kevin Keller stuff. I said that already. I'm Not Okay with This. The original comic that was adapted. Massive. I forget who the artist is of that. Just tons of stuff.
Gives me a Frank Quietly vibe.
Yeah. That's kind of his style.
Afterlife with Archie is a great one. That's worth picking up.
This whole book is just amazing. I picked up this. This is great too. The Quick and Easy Guide to Queer and Trans Identities. I mean, just a massive bundle. So $25, you get everything here. Go check it out. That's my recommendation.
Awesome.
My recommendation is just Half Price Books. I mean, it was just so nice to go. Yeah, the store. We recommend a ton of shit, and if you go to your comic book store, you may have to pay back issue prices and stuff. But man, I picked up so many great things that I've been trying to build. That it's like I had just Annihilation. I'm trying to build from all the limited series. I mean, I shit on event books, but fucking love Annihilation, and I'm trying to rebuild it from scratch. And so, I picked up some Guardian books. And I'm trying to put the original Guardians 2008 to run together.
Is that the Bendis run? No, 2008. Never mind.
2008 is Abnett Landing.
Yeah.
It's during the Annihilation event.
Cosmo.
Yeah, we got. This is an annual Donny Cates annual from this year. Cool. Half price. Frank Cho cover. Guardians from, and then. I bought these just for the covers because I already had the copies because they all go together. Half Price Books is just a place I could hang out all fucking day. And the biggest win of all that I got from Half Price Books was the Venom Steel book that I got. I think y'all saw me tweet it. They didn't use the digital copy, so I got a digital copy too.
Nice.
So Half Price Books is always a win for me. And I will state that my wife works there, so... I do get
full disclosure.
But yeah, full disclosure. But she always sends me cool shit that I send to chat, of the weird books they get. So, we should probably promote their store more just because they get really cool stuff,
Yeah. And if you don't live near one, they do have a site you can go on and order stuff. So,
yeah.
Nice. All right.
That's it.
Cool. Well, that's gonna do it for us, I think. Thank you, everybody that stopped by. Thank you very much for stopping by the chat. To tell me that it's not Morbin time anymore.
Always Morbin time.
Always Morbin time.
I may go watch Morbius after this because it's Morbin time.
We need to keep the memes alive so they keep wasting money on the movie.
Oh my god! Just wow! Why?
So yeah, but we did decide that it's not the worst adaptation, right? That it's not the worst comic book movie since Blade. We had a whole episode. We had a whole episode about
it's the spirit.
Right.
The spirit at least has the costume. Catwoman doesn't even have the Catwoman costume.
Oh, yeah. All right. That's fair.
There's plenty of worse movies than Morbius, so it's always Morbin time.
Morbin.
Although I will say, when Jared Leto tweeted out that he got the script for Morbius 2, I was like, okay.
I saw that.
We got it.
We're
in on it now. Joke's over. Let's move on.
I love Jared Leto just for that.
I just wish he would do more music because I am a big fan of 30 Seconds to Mars. That's all. But that's a very specific.
I didn't realize he was a musician. Huh.
Yeah. He's got that's how I knew of him before the acting. 30 Seconds to Mars. I saw him in concert.
Oh my god!
Seen My So-Called Life?
That's what I was about to bring up. I first knew him from My So-Called Life.
Never seen that. But I saw him at Edgefest a long time ago at the Pizza Hut Park is called now, whatever it was called, Toyota at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Where they play soccer out in Frisco. So yeah, that was a long time ago. But I miss Edgefest. But I'm not built for concerts anymore, anyways.
To help understand Generation X better, go check out My So-Called Life.
So-Called Life.
It has the fucking best soundtrack. It has a young Jared Leto. Fucking awesome show.
Cool.
And it's Pride Month. It's a good show to watch for Pride Month.
Oh, great.
Does the soundtrack survive? Like, did it make it through to DVD? Did they pay for all the rights for those songs?
I don't know, because they have like a lot of great music in
there. I've got the soundtrack to that, and it's amazing.
Shit, nice. I don't know. Is it streaming anywhere? That would be the answer if
there was a DVD release, but yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go look and see.
Come back next episode to find out if it's streaming anywhere.
All right,
as always,
cliffhanger.
Yeah. We're very close to 700 subscribers, which is insane. So make sure
that's amazing.
Yeah,
I still haven't paid my dues for 600. I haven't watched Old Boy. I've got to figure out a way we can all watch
that was
the American Old Boy.
Clay.
That was for five. Oh shit!
We didn't do it. We didn't even do. I don't. It sounds braggy, but we got to 600 so fast from 500 that we didn't even have time to do anything.
We celebrated 666 more than we celebrated.
Yeah, we did. That was an internal celebration in the Discord. But yeah, subscribe, share. We got a bunch of comic reviews, a lot of DC stuff that I'm reading that I've already read this week, including that Pride issue. So make sure to go check that out. And then more movie reviews. I'll probably do at least a review for the first episode of Ms. Marvel. I don't know if I'll do it weekly like I've been doing with some other stuff, just because of there's not enough time for me to watch and then make videos of everything. I say that and I dropped 3 videos for the boys that same night.
I saw that when I logged on this morning.
So excited. I hope they release the first episode so everybody can watch it, because I guess they can't put it on YouTube. Fuck.
Why?
Oh, I bet not.
Is that 15 minutes of that episode are fucking insane, Clay?
Is it the hero-gasm in the first 15 minutes?
It's better. It's better.
Better?
We'll figure out. We'll figure out.
You make me want to like give money to Amazon to watch it. I don't want to.
I know.
That.
I'm sorry. We'll figure out a way. We'll find where there's a will, there's a way. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, thanks everyone. I should have been pulling up the closing while we.
Yeah, pull up the closing. But yeah, when we got to meet up with these guys, like it had been 3 years before me getting out to do a lot of stuff, and I've talked quite a bit that I've been unemployed and I've been going through some health issues and everything, and this podcast has just been an escape for me. And like you guys, I love you guys, and this is just, and you, Kyle, who had to jump out early, and Adrian, if you even listen anymore. It gets me through a lot, and I just wanted to show that love back, because I know that you guys would get those comics and enjoy them just as much like you bought them off the shelf. So,
yeah,
thanks, man. We love you too.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Kyle. Clay shot a little video here. Let me share that, and then we'll close the show.
Because I love Danny's expression.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
I mean, the only thing better would have been like giving you a Detective Comics.
The only thing better is if you would have pulled out Christian Bale from that bag for me.
Christian Bale's going to come over and watch all 3 Nolan films with you and do commentary in your house.
So here, let's take a look. So this is us meeting up at
nice. There he goes with the tearing.
Yeah.
He almost ripped that open. That face.
It's so good.
He's so excited, so happy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Are you sure?
Josh.
I'm so happy.
And that's what comics is about.
That's
yep.
Right.
Absolutely. Oh, love it.
So cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching.
And publish it. So
yeah, thank you.
To it.
Thanks.
Thank you, man.
And yeah, we'll catch you guys later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And let's get out of
Let's
here.
ride.
Thanks everyone for watching.
Twitter loves you.
Oh yeah. Clay.
Hell, Bebo.
Josh? Simon Center, get the fuck out.
All right. Bye.
All right.